All right, so we're going to set up some stairs in this video, and we're going to do that by using Sherman levels. Um, it's not too hard, but it can be a little bit tedious, and you're going to run into problems the first couple times you do this. It's just one of those little tricky things to do, and it can be a little bit problematic. Nonetheless, check out the level builder PDF file. Pay close attention to this thing. It has all the answers in it. It's not as straightforward as you would think, though. Like the way they write it into the PDF, um, the level builder file here, it's a little bit more simple than it sounds. And like this is sounds way more complicated, but it's really not that complicated. So when we started our level, we created these two guys. Remember these? It was going to be the scene center and Sherman level height 1. We're going to need Sherman level height 1. So I'm going to unfreeze it real quick using the display floater here. That's under tools, display floater. And we're going to utilize that in a second, but I just wanted to unfreeze it for now so we have that set and ready to go. Here's a model in Blender of a building. Level design for GR, think about what you're doing. It's pretty important. In this case, I got level 1 here, and I have a level 2. And instead of making this just one room, I'm going to make it 2 rooms. So there's separate rooms. And then also, I have this staircase room as well. So it's going to be room 1, 2, and then 3. So we got 3 rooms total. In your map folder, real quick, I want to go over this. The roomlist.txt file. Make sure this is set up correctly for that. And you don't have any additional rooms that aren't being utilized because your game will crash if you do. Pretty important. The only additions here that you, or the only things you really need to make is room 2 is going to have levels 1 and 2. Room 3 is going to have only level 2. And room 1 will be level 1. So you can go ahead and save that and have it ready to go. All right. This room is set up with portals. Everything is really neatly named right now inside of Blender. This just helps with the import process into 3D Studio Max 5. So keep that in mind. This is how I set it up. Room 3 is the walls, the floor, and the ceiling. That's all I got tagged right now. This is like my base, my starting point for creating a building in GR. Really important that you do this if you're going to transfer from Blender to 3D Studio Max 5 is that you name all this really meticulously because you're going to want to keep track of what's what and where it is and whatnot. So we got 2 portals. We got portal 2 into 1, and we got portal 3 underscore 2. So they're named appropriately. We need to create the Sherman level system that's going to be implemented to create a transitional staircase that your AI characters can utilize. So the way I found to do this that's easiest is you need what I call gates. They're called transitions, but I call them gates. I think the AI looks at them as gates. Once they pass through them, they know they're going up a stair or down a stair. So they know they're changing levels. I believe that's how it works anyways. I'm not real sure. So where I place these is we got to remember this top section here is going to be floor 2. This very bottom polygon is going to be floor 1. Everything in between is going to be the transition. So this would be the next floor area that the AI characters are looking for. So we need to put the 2 gates right here. We're going to press E and Z and bring them up. You can bring them up pretty high. It doesn't really matter how high they are or how big they are. It doesn't matter which way the normals face. That doesn't matter either. You can separate these. So I'm going to separate them real quick. And all I want to do is rename these. So I'm going to call these Sherman level. Sherman transitions. The room number 02 underscore, and this is going to be 1.75. So it's going to be like floor 1.75 basically. I'm going to copy that so I don't have to write it again. Make sure the spelling is correct. It says Sherman transition 02, and this one is at the bottom, so it's going to be 1.25. Okay, those are pretty important. So those are kind of like your gates to this. This is what makes it work. Part of what makes it work anyways. The next thing we need to do is create a cube. I'm going to go straight into edit mode when I do this. And this cube is kind of hiding out over here, but I'm gonna press G, Shift Z, hold Control. I'm gonna click it into place. You can see that it matches up perfectly. It's I'm snapping by increments, so of course it's going to match up perfectly. All we got to do is encompass this entire polygon with this cube. Think of this cube not as geometry, think of it as a volume. This bottom floor polygon needs to be inside of this cube somewhere. And you want to make sure that this cube doesn't accidentally select this polygon. So don't make it too big. Like if you were doing something crazy and you were doing this number like that and you made it bigger, don't do that. Okay. Try not to select that polygon. You're trying to just get this one down here, and I make it a little bit bigger than the polygon itself, and I think that works out pretty well. And so this should be touching this. Okay. That little gate should be touching this volume. Pretty simple. Now we're going to do another one. I'm going to snap it up. Just move it over. Same thing over here. I'm going to press Alt Z real quick. Go into edit mode, press Alt Z. So I can select the whole thing as needed. Once again, same process here. You want it to encompass this top polygon, but you don't want it to encompass this top floor for the staircase. Very carefully do this. It doesn't have to be perfect 100%. Like the alignment doesn't really matter all that much, but it helps to get them very neat. And I'm going to do the same thing over here, except now we got to bring it all the way down. And so I want this one to sit on that top piece in there. Let's turn this into just bounds real quick so you can see what's going on. I want to encompass this top piece here. On this side, I want it to encompass this top one here, but I don't want it to accidentally select the top, the second floor here. So I'm going to bring it down about like so. And that should work out fine. Something like that. Okay, if these bother you, you can always turn them into bounds. I don't know how they'll export those, so we're going to try exporting it as normal, and I'll leave it up to you if you want to try exporting it as bounds. These need to be renamed. This is going to be Sherman, if I can spell, Sherman level room 2 underscore 2.0. It's level 2 now, okay? And we're going to copy that. This is going to be Sherman level, it's in room 2, but it's going to be level 1. Okay, and this is the transition area. So this is going to be called Sherman room 2 1.5, and then type in stairs. Okay, that's it. We're pretty much set up with this. We don't have to do it in here because in our map list or our room list, this is level 1, and in our room list, this is level 2. So we only need this kind of set up for this transition in this area, and it should work and behave appropriately. I believe we got it all set up just right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to save it, grab everything real quick, and just export it out as a wavefront OBJ file. We're going to do negative Y forward, Z up. We're going to do OBJ groups, not OBJ objects. Include UVs and apply modifiers, and I'm going to export it on top of mesh.obj there. So now it's exported. Here in this scene, what we're going to do is just simply import it real quick. And so I don't see my mesh. Let's see, OBJ file. Oh, I got to find it again, I guess. Okay, let's go find it. Mods folder, test level, map. Oh, no, go back. Map, test level, temp exports, mesh OBJ. So I'm going to import that We're going to import all of it except for default. I don't know what default actually does, but I don't have that in my scene in Blender, so I don't need it. Texture coordinates, normals, vertex scales 100. We're doing the group multiple. So now we have everything selected that we need. We're going to click OK. It's going to come in like so. Now GR, if you don't assign textures to anything, what's going to happen is it's all going to turn white in the game. So where did my thing go? Okay. So what I'm going to do instead is this whole group. Oh, our OBJ file comes in as a group. You got to group, ungroup it. This whole area here and this whole area, these are all different rooms. So we can actually group those right off the bat. This doesn't matter. Room 03 was 3 objects. We can group it. We're going to, before we group it, select the floor polygons. You can do this multiples at a time too. So this is pretty cool. I press H here to select my my floor for room 2. So we got room 1 floor, room 2 floor, room 3 floor. You can see it adds cube.05.13.3. We could rename them if we wanted to, but I don't think it's really that important. Not for static mesh. Maybe portals and things like that, which we're going to have to do. So let's go ahead and tag these as floor polygons. We are good. We're going to press H. Now we can select all 3 of the objects for room 3. We can group them. Underscore 03. Same here for the other ones. So room 1, select those objects. This is the static mesh part. 01. Okay. Same for room 2. We got the walls, the floor, and the ceiling. Group it. Underscore 02. All right, and I've already set this up under material. You could do a diffuse material, load up a bitmap, and I did the checker pattern. And so now I can just apply this to the entire group, and I won't have to worry about it. Okay, pretty cool. That's done. These portals need to be renamed. Unfortunately, they have added cube at the end. I don't know why it does that, but sure. Whatever the case is, we'll just rename them. So now our portals will be correct. I'm going to go ahead and Sherman level 1. All these need to be renamed too. So Sherman level 1 underscore cube. Let's just delete the cube part. We'll do this real quick. We'll just highlight it. Bam. Just like that. It's gone. We'll check all the names again one more time before we export, so that way we know if we got it right or not. These 2 I can't select because I'm kind of backwards on them, so we'll just select them. Pressing H, by the way, to bring that little list up. These little transitions. All right. Here's the fun part. We got to tag each one of these. So we're going to go to the map editor. And what you'll see is in the map editor, if we click levels, we want to add a planning level. And there's only planning level 1 right now. So we can't do much with it right now. What we have to actually do is, remember I told you to unfreeze Sherman level height 1. That was this little polygon we created when we started creating levels. Okay, that guy was pretty important because we had him at 0 on the plane. He was kind of at the grid bottom there. Now what we need to do is press shift and grab an arrow and just bring him straight up. It needs to be straight up. Don't forget that. And we're going to rename this Sherman level height 2.0. Just like that. And we'll put it up here. It needs to go near where your second floor will be. It calculates the distance from this one to this one. And it kind of roughly estimates where your level 2 will be. And that's pretty much how that goes. And you need to actually type in level height 2.0. You can remove level 1, add level 2.0. Okay, and now that's set up. So we don't mess around with those. I'm going to select them and freeze them again. Now I won't accidentally touch those. And now we can take this guy and all these other ones here, and we can start tagging them. So um, bottom one, map editor, we're going to levels again. We're going to add it. We're going to be putting it at level 1. And this is in room 2. So we got to do that. The top one here, level 2, room 2. Okay. And this middle one, we don't do anything. Except you can put it in room 2. That's it. That's all you got to do for that middle one. These guys, the transitions, you don't touch them. They stay like that. Okay. And this is going to allow our AI characters now to behave appropriately. So they'll actually be able to go upstairs if you want them to or not. I'm going to save this. Let's go ahead and just double check everything real quick. We got P0201. Okay. We got 1.5 stairs, 2. We got 1.25 and 1.75. Rooms 1, 2, and 3, and they got the floor polygons tagged, so we should be okay. This is another good time to check your room list text out. Make sure it's correct. Room 1 is level 1. Room 2 is level 1 and 2. Room 3 is level 2. Okay, and just set it up like so, and then don't forget to put that little space at the bottom down here. Have that little extra. Okay, and that should work. We're going to blow away the SHT file real quick. That's the hit collision detection system, or hit collision detection file or whatever. We're going to export this, and I'm going to do it as testlevel.map. Save it, replace it, using kind of this default setup to export, weld vertices, clean vertex attributes. Real small in the weld vertices for myself, but 3D Max invert Y Sherman, centimeters, meters, click OK. You'll see that I went through it with no problems. That's pretty important. You don't want to have too many problems when you're exporting, but you don't want to have any extra rooms in your room list. If you have that issue, it's going to crash when you go into GR. So now this should work. Let's go ahead and just go straight into Ghost Recon, and we're going to try it out and see what happens. You know, it may work well, it may not work well. It just depends. You know, it takes a little while to get used to setting these Sherman levels up. It's just the way it is. So we'll go in here and we'll get it started. Now I should be able to go into that stairwell, which is right here, and I should be able to just walk up it and not get hung up. See, if you set those transition points up in the wrong areas and they're not real precise, they have to be like perfectly precise where the top floor meets this next area in the z-axis. So they like right here, it has to be perfectly in that area, like perfect. That's why it's best to make it off your geometry and not trying to guesstimate and align it by line of sight. Uh-oh, we got something going on here. Uh-oh. Okay, so that portal appears to be doing whatever it wants. It's not doing it now. So we might have to take a look into that and see why it's doing that. But if I had to take a guess, it has something to do with the Sherman levels more than the portal itself. So let's try this again. We'll go to room 3, or we'll go to Bravo here. Let's try putting an AI character up, doing it that way. So we're going to take Charlie. We're going to run him to the corner, run him here. Ooh, Alpha's all in the way. Come on, guys, get in the corner here. Let's see if we can get Charlie to run up there with you guys. And he is not listening. He's just doing what he wants. So normally, Your AI should take commands to go up. I know you can't see the command map right now, but he should be. When I click here, it shouldn't be going down to the first floor. It should be going back up. That means the transition is messed up somehow or another. And that's what it's doing. So let's go take a look at it. Let's see if we can't figure out what's going on. I did something wrong here, and I'm not sure what yet. Plus, we had that portal error. That was kind of a dead giveaway. Something was going on. All right. And we shouldn't be having any issues, really. Sherman level to 2.0. Sherman level 2, 1.5. Maybe I didn't tag a room or something. Room level. Room 02, 2.0. I wonder if it renamed all of them like that. Or maybe I did that by accident. Some little things like that will actually cause problems. So I don't know if that was it, but it's a potential. So we can click OK. Save it. Let's try it. Let's see what happens. Maybe that was it. Instead of using 02, I used 2.0. So let's try that out now. Hopefully we don't get it in a runaround because sometimes this does take a lot of trial and error to get it right. As long as your geometry is right, you won't have any problems with it, other than naming things correctly. That becomes the biggest problem usually. So it's pretty sketchy, man, making making Sherman level heights and transitions. It takes some practice. You got to get used to doing it. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it. But there's no guarantee to it either. So maybe now we'll actually transition appropriately. Hopefully, when I walk in this room, it doesn't glitch out again. And it didn't. So maybe we got it correct now. Let's see if we can get Charlie up here. I think we are. There we go. There we go. So he's coming up now. And that's the way it should be. He should be able to traverse back and forth freely and not be any problem. Sometimes you'll run into this issue where he will not go back down either. He's stopping right there. He doesn't want to move past there. Oh, maybe he does. Maybe I can't click nothing because there's too many. It's too small. Oh no, he went back up. Get out of my way. I gotta kill my own teammates. I got too many guys running around. Too many things to click on. I hate killing my own guys, but sometimes it's a requirement. Yeah, so he came back down. It's just too claustrophobic in here. Yeah, but it's working. That's the point. That's the whole idea of doing that. It is now working. Um, you know, practice doing it. It really is very tedious. You've seen that it wasn't working before, and then it started working. And literally, the only difference is I tagged room 2 wrong. I mean, this is a tedious process. Don't rush it. Test it out. Make sure you get in there and you try it, and make sure it works. There's other ways to transition. You don't have to use staircases, but the only thing that's going to remain the same is that these have to be placed where the floors will meet up. So your transition area where it meets the floors in the up and down Z axis for the most part. Um, these guys, looking at example maps, they can intersect with each other pretty well. You just don't want to accidentally grab a polygon. I believe the way this works, and don't quote me on this, but is that this is, it's acting as a volume to select the floor polygon for the level, the second level there. So as long as you have that floor polygon inside of this, you're good. If this was to select another polygon that is in the transition area, and by selected I mean it fully encompasses that polygon, it would end up making that polygon a part of the second level. And then so this guy wouldn't, this little transition thing wouldn't work technically. You'd have to move it to wherever you started and stopped at that polygon. The PDF builder file says don't intersect them up and down like this. But in reality, I think you can get away with it just by looking at MP06, the castle example map. They do it quite a bit on those. So there is some leeway to this system, but I know that these little Sherman transitions here, there's zero leeway for those. If those aren't right, it's not going to work. You're going to it's going to start acting like a wall. You're not going to be able to walk smoothly across the staircase. So you have to be very precise wherever you place those. They have to be exactly where the two levels meet, or the transition level and then like level 2 would meet, or the bottom in the transition, or level 1 in the transition. Other than that, that's Sherman levels in a nutshell. I mean, you can actually make intermediate Sherman levels. You can do like 1.5. You can do Sherman level 3, but your AI, generally speaking, like you're not going to be able to tell your AI to go up to level 3. It's just not going to happen. You can't use a command map to do that. So there's really no point for it other than creating missions. So if you were to create a level 3, you would be able to, place enemy combatants up there, and they would be able to shoot down on you from rooftops or whatever the case may be, which would be kind of fun. You could put like snipers up high in places and stuff. That's kind of just on you, on how you're going to handle all this. I'm just giving you like an introduction to the Sherman level system, and trying to get your feet wet with it, because it's a little complicated. It's not so straightforward all the time, but it is what it is. You've seen how it worked out. It's not too bad. And I wouldn't say don't use it. Use it as much as you can. Use it as much as you want. There's really nothing wrong with that. Now, I got to figure out how Red Storm did this, but supposedly they cut a lot of their transition areas into rooms, and portals act the same as these transition areas. Supposedly, I don't know for sure. I haven't tried it. I haven't done it that way. So I'm gonna play around with that, and if I figure it out, I'll let you guys know on how to do it that way as well. And that would be good for like sloping rooms that kind of go up, little things like that. I think would be pretty beneficial. And even stairs, you could probably do stairs as long as it's just in that one room. So if this was cut into a room, and this was cut into a room, and then this was cut into a third or another room right here in the middle, I could have potentially just used portals and not had any of these Sherman level height things going on either, I think. But don't quote me. I don't know yet. So when I figure it out, I'll let you guys know. Thanks for watching the video, sticking around for it. Hopefully you learned a little bit, and see you in the next one. All right.